What's going on, everybody? This is Buster. Today we're rebuilding the San Francisco 49ers. It was a request. Y'all know I try to knock out all the requests in a timely manner, but with Thanksgiving and I've been sick recently, trying to get videos out has been hard, recording and editing and all that. So please bear with me as I take my time. Before we get into this, be sure to smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you enjoy Madden or college football rebuilds. I also have a Dynasty series that I just recently started. So be sure to subscribe if you like that, and let me know down in the comments if there's a team you want to see rebuilt, because here soon we're going to be getting into the kind of realistic draft rebuilds and what I think teams are going to do and all that. So be sure to stay around for that. Now let's get into this one. Well, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to give the Rams the win, as they did beat San Francisco in real life on this past Thursday. Then what we're doing is, I know they suspended them in real life just recently, today actually. We're not going to suspend them. We're going to release Devondre Campbell. He doesn't need to be a part of this franchise. That gives us 29 people to try to re-sign all the bigger deals, and this team is aging a lot. But I will tell you, one person we're going to keep around is Hufanga. Actually, we're going to try to make this deal a little bit sweeter for him. Hopefully he stays. He does. I'm interested in these younger guys. You know, Jordan Mason potentially, but he doesn't want to stay around. Aaron Banks, I'd like to keep for a couple years. We're going to go for Charvarius Ward, a corner. We can't do that. We're going to have to bump it back a little bit. He stays, and then that's all we have room for. Debo and Dre Greenlaw are going to have to walk unless we get a bump of money. Now, let's get to, potentially the playoffs. We could make it and go from there. Well, we finished 6-11, so we don't make the playoffs, and we are bottom of the division. Brock Purdy, decent year, 4,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Jordan Mason kind of leading the way in rushing because Christian McCaffrey's been out a long time. George Kittle in receiving. Defensively, Fred Warner, of course, led the team in tackles. Leonard Floyd in TFLs, and Nick Bosa in sacks with 8. Leonard Floyd right behind him. And a decent amount of interceptions. This team has done a really good job at bringing players in. And we're trying to see if we have any award winners, and it's not looking like we are. Isaac Guerendo is actually in the short list for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Nobody for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Best quarterback, Brock Purdy's on the list. Running back, nobody. Receiver, Juwan Jennings is on the list. Best offensive lineman, Trent Williams, of course, is going to be on the list. Best defensive lineman, Nick Bosa at 2. And Leonard Floyd at 6. Best linebacker, Fred Warner at 9. Best defensive back, not on the list. Best kicker, not on the list. And we had a Tampa Bay Cincinnati Super Bowl, as Cincinnati comes away with the win. Joe Burrow getting his first. Well, we have 51 mil, and I really don't know who we're going to re-sign here, as we might just go into the free agency. Like, Debo is going to continue to regress. Greenlaw is going to continue to regress. Jordan Mason potentially, because we're going to be getting rid of Christian McCaffrey soon. We might just look for other positions in the draft or in the free agency. All right, this is who we're going after this year in the free agency. Tutu Atwell, Matt Ariza, Chase Young, going to try to bring him back, and Baron Browning. Just going after some younger players to try to. This team is so old. All right, so we get Tutu Atwell and Matt Ariza. We don't get Chase Young, and Baron Browning is still debating. So we do get Baron Browning. Now, who do we lose Chase Young to? He went to the Cardinals. Interesting. And I think we're just going to leave that there. We don't want to bring anybody else in. Try to save that $25 million. We got to pay Brock Purdy next year. Okay, so apparently you have to have auto reorder on for generate best lineup to work. I did not know that. That's kind of dumb. Well, we're here at the draft. We have pick 10. Let's get to it. See what options we have. Well, we're going to go with Kelvin Banks Jr. He's the best left tackle on the board. Trent Williams just retired, so we don't even have one. We need to get somebody there. He's ranked at 9, got him at 10, and a hidden dev. Well, you know what? Quinshon Judkins is here, and we don't need a running back just yet. Wow, he's slow. But he's the best on the board, so we're going to take him, and that's going to give us the ability to move off Christian McCaffrey, as he's a hidden dev player. Only 85 speed, though. That's tough. All right, well, we need a right outside linebacker. This guy looks like a good cover guy, a really good athlete. I don't think, ranked at 90, yeah, I didn't think he was going to be a hidden dev just because this is the realistic draft class. All right, Howard Cross is here. I've used him in other rebuilds. I think he does pretty good. We need a defensive tackle, so why not go after what I think is a good one? Oh, he's not good. Okay, never mind. And looking at the draft recap, it really, we went downhill after Howard Cross. But these three guys should see the field for our team, especially Quinshon Judkins. We might definitely move off of Christian McCaffrey super soon, and the rookie Kelvin Banks, that looks like he is going to be a star at left tackle for our future. So the first thing to do going into year 2, obviously, is going to be to move off of Christian McCaffrey. He's 29, so he's going to start regressing very fast. Time to see if we can get a decent package for him. And I really think we're going to be able to. But where do we send him? And I'm not really planning on taking a player. But like the LA Chargers need a running back. So if we can get a first and a bunch of other picks, that's exactly what happens. We get a haul from Christian McCaffrey, which means our rookie Quinshon Judkins is going to see the field and should be able to run behind this decent offensive line. Defensively, we still need some work on the D-line, but hopefully with Nick Bosa there, it really just helps everybody else play better. The cornerbacks are looking really good. Safeties looking decent. Jackson, the rookie right outside linebacker, hopefully he plays well enough he can get a, potential dev trait. And Baron Browning we added to the left outside linebacker spot, so hopefully he shines a little bit brighter. And we all know how it goes at the midseason. We always start with who needs to renegotiate. And it's going to be Brock Purdy, and we're going to give him a 7. I don't have the salary cap for it. It says I have the salary cap for it. Well, I have to offer him 1 lower, and he takes it. Now, I don't really know who to re-sign after this, so I think what's going to happen is I think George Kittle is going to end up traded. And here's what we're going to do. We're taking Khalil Mack off the trade, and we're going to submit that. And that's exactly what we get. We get more picks. That's what we need. Juwan Jennings can probably just walk. I don't think I'm going to try to re-sign him. He's 28, only an 80 overall. Yeah. Not worth it. So he can go. Utor can go unless anything changes. And Kyle Juszczyk, though, we'll keep him around. Now, we are 3-3. We got to do our national focus scouting here. We're going to keep it to defensive tackle. We have a pile of picks, so we can trade up if we need to. Let's see if we know any dev traits. Okay, Kelvin Banks is star. We don't know Quinshon Judkins yet, but he's almost up to an 80 overall, which is nice. Defensively, we didn't have any dev traits. And let's see, Purdy's playing excellent. 1,000 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, 66% completion completion percentage, and a 102 rating. Quinshawn Judkins is actually playing great. 4.7 yards a carry is fantastic. Only 380 yards, but not that many attempts. Receiving could be better. We don't look like we're going to touch a 1,000-yard receiver this year. Defensively, Hufanga leading the team in tackles. Bosa, of course, in TFLs, and Bosa in sacks. Not getting a lot of pressure this year, which is not great. Fred Warner with 2 picks. The rookie Nick Jackson with a sack and a pick and a TFL. Renardo Green with a pick. Travarius Ward with a pick. Jair Brown with a pick. Diamador Lenore with a pick. And D. Winters with a pick. And we finished the year incredibly. 3,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions from Brock Purdy. That's what you want from him if you pay him. Rushing, Quinshawn Judkins, 941, 8 touchdowns, 4.1 a carry. Over that 4 yard a carry mark it's hard to find a running back that does that. Receiving, Brandon Ayuk exploded in the second half of the year. He had under 300 yards at the midseason, and it finishes with 1,114 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns for Juwan Jennings, 4 for Tutu Atwell. The rookie left tackle gave up a bunch of sacks. That's expected. It happens. Nick Jackson leads the team in tackles. We could look for a dev trait from him. Nick Bosa, 18 TFLs, 12 for Hargrave, 10 for Leonard Floyd, and Nick Bosa, only 6 sacks. These numbers are so unrealistic, we might have to change the playbooks. And our rookie right outside linebacker also leading the team in interceptions with 4. 2 for Warner, 2 for Lenore, 2 for Green, 2 for Charvarius, and then 1 for a couple others. It was a fantastic year, and we finished 12-5, leading the division, the number 2 seed. Things are looking up in year 2. Now let's see if we know Quinshawn's dev trait. And it's just star, but he's up to an 82 overall already. Hopefully he can continue to develop. Defensively, we didn't have any, but Nick Jackson already playing up to a 78 overall. Well, we're not going to hop in, but we're going to see if we can beat the Panthers in the playoffs. And we don't. We're eliminated as the Panthers killed us through the air with 334 yards. Bryce Young had an incredible day. And Brock Purdy did not, throwing 2 interceptions. Quinshawn, it looks like we just didn't stay with the run as he was averaging over 5 yards a carry. Receiving, Brandon Ayuk with 80 yards. Jalen Conyers, the rookie tight end, with a touchdown. Tabor Pepper with a touchdown, and Tutu Atwell with a touchdown. Defensively, it looks like Nick Jackson led the way in tackles again. Malik Collins in TFLs. No sacks, no interceptions. Maybe we should have hopped in. Let's get to the end of the year. Well, I'm surprised with the year Brock Purdy had that he's all the way down at 8. But we're really only looking for... Oh, and Kyle Shanahan at 10 on Coach of the Year. We're only looking for the Rookie of the Year award winners. Brock Purdy at 10 for Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Jackson at 5. Hopefully that means he's going to squeeze in for that Defensive Rookie. Offensive Rookie goes to Quinshawn Judkins. Conyers, the rookie tight end, at 10. Defensive Rookie of the Year going to Nick Jackson. That should be 2 dev traits, which is awesome. Best quarterback, Purdy at 2. Best running back, Judkins at 6. Best receiver, Ayuk at 3. Best offensive lineman, Pooney at 2. Best defensive lineman, we're not on that list. Best linebacker, not on the list. How do we not have a best linebacker? We had a linebacker win Rookie of the Year and 5th at Defensive Player of the Year. Best defensive back, not on the list. Best kicker, Jake Moody at 7. And we lost to the eventual Super Bowl, or to the team that was eventually in the Super Bowl, in the Carolina Panthers, who lose to the Kansas City Chiefs with Nick Bolton as the Super Bowl MVP. Quinshawn does go up to superstar. Brandon Ayuk goes up. Juwan Jennings goes down. Defensively, Nick Jackson goes up to star dev. Lenore goes up to superstar. We lose all our dev traits on the D-line. So we're either going to have to bring somebody in the free... Ooh, I think Ricardo Green also gained a dev trait. We're going to have to try to fix this defensive line in this draft. So these are the two players we are targeting in the free agency. Travis Jones and Brevin Jordan. Let's see who we get. Well, we get Brevin Jordan. Travis Jones hasn't made his decision yet. Hopefully he decided to sign on, and he did not. Well, I'm doing this blind, and we have 2 first-round picks this year. First is at 16. The second is at 23. Let's get to 16. The first player we're going after is Justin Hendricks, the best defensive tackle on the board. So we need defensive tackles, so let's bring one in. Ranked at 11, got him at 16, and he's hidden dev. All right, now we need a receiver. This guy's a round 1 talent. He's a playmaker. We got to have somebody. Losing Jawan. Ranked at 14, got him at 23. Only normal dev, not a big deal. The next best tight end on the board is Justin Cordova. We know we need a tight end terribly. Hopefully he's really good. Ranked at 38. Got him at 38. Only normal dev, but an upgrade for us. All right, Adonis Shelton is a speed rusher, and we may move him to that right end spot. He looks super good. Another defensive lineman and a hidden dev player. Well, we need another tackle, so Aaron Delvin is going to be the pick. Try to shore up this offensive line a little bit. Not too terrible. And DeMarcus Gresham, another defensive tackle. Like I said, one of them we might move to the right end. Ranked at 31, another hidden dev player. And it looks like we did really well with a lot of our picks, as Justin Hendricks was a 76 overall hidden dev. Morgan Lehman, 75 overall normal. Cordova, going to be the starting tight end even though he's normal dev. Adonis Shelton, I'm interested in moving to the right end spot. And he goes up in overall at right end, so we will keep him there. We bring in a 70 plus overall. We're going to go ahead and move him to right tackle. All right, well, we got all the positions changed that we need. We had a really good draft. 6 players over a 70 overall, and all close to mid 70s. Lowest being a 73 overall right tackle. So let's get these people plugged in. We'll see you at the beginning of year 3. And this is what the team is looking like going into year 3. We're going to bump up Lehman over Ricky Pearsall. I know Ricky Pearsall has shown a lot of potential in real life, but we're just going to bump him, and we'll bump Frazier up to the starting center here. We have the rookie right tackle. He's probably going to give up a pile of sacks. We need a center. Cordova looking pretty good. Hopefully, gets a lot of receiving yards and can get in that rookie of the year race. Defensively, it seems as Fred Warner is hurt. Baron Browning now the weak spot on the linebacker, in the linebacker core or in the linebacker rotation. We've got some really good young defensive linemen in Gresham, Hendricks, and Shelton. Hopefully they can all develop and grow really well. Our corners look, as soon as we get Ricardo Green back, they look really good. The defense is like an 87 overall. The offense is the weakest part, but hopefully with another year of growth from Judkins and some of these rookies developing, we can really, really grow this team. And we always have people to re-sign, and Fred Warner we have to try to re-sign. He wants to be here. A 5-year deal just isn't reasonable, so we're going to try a 3. That gets him to stay. I'm really more interested in re-signing someone like Jair Brown over Travarius Ward. So he's going to stay, and Aaron Banks is another player. We'll keep him around for another 3 years. And I think save our $11 million, and Travarius Ward, welcome to being traded. A 30-year-old cornerback just is not somebody we want to keep around. A first and a fourth. That does it. Travarius Ward, welcome to the New Orleans Saints. We have 2 corners that are good enough. That's all we need to worry about. We are 4-3, so we're over 500 at the midseason. We did take down Philadelphia, but lost to Washington. Let's see if we know any of our dev traits, as we did have quite a few this year. None on offense, though. Delvin developing nicely. So is Cordova. Layman getting put behind Ricky Pearsall. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put Layman over Tutu Atwell, as Tutu Atwell is leaving this year. Judkins developing nicely. Defensively, okay, Hendricks is just a star dev. We do not know the other two dev traits yet. See, we did get rid of Travarius Ward, but with Lenore and Ricardo Green, I feel confident that we can kind of make something happen. All right, Brock Purdy has 180'd and somehow thrown 7 interceptions this year. He threw 4 all of last year. 1,600 yards. Quinshon Judkins still over that 4 yards a carry and 5 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins leading the way in receiving 2. Brandon Ayuk not far behind him and 7 receiving touchdowns. The rookie not having a terrible year, 3 touchdowns. The rookie right tackle has only given up 1 sack. See how much that changes. Defensively, Nick Jackson leading the team in tackles, DeMarcus Gresham in TFLs, and Gresham in sacks, as Nick Bosa only has 1. I don't know why he doesn't play good in the sim. And only 2 interceptions, 2 for Fred Warner, 1 for Jair Brown. Say that Travarius Ward could have had a lot. I don't know. Didn't look. Let's get to the playoffs. Well, in year 3, we end up going 6-11. We're not bottom of the division necessarily, but I am curious to why we played so bad this year. I feel like the team got better. Brock Purdy, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, not great. Quinshon Judkins, still over 4 yards a carry. We're just not running the ball a lot. Receiving, Brandon Ayuk, 1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins, 700 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Tutu Atwell was 7-3. Cordova was 7 receiving touchdowns. The rookie Layman only 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Delvin still didn't give up the most sacks. It was still left tackle, second-year player Kelvin Banks. Defensively, Nick Jackson looking for another dev trait, with Nick Bosa leading the team in TFLs. And it looks like Nick Bosa leading the team in sacks with 8.5. Adonis Shelton, the rookie, with 8. DeMarcus Gresham with 3.5. And Justin Hendricks with a sack and a half. Fred Warner with 2 picks, 1 from a couple other people. Didn't really light the world on fire with turnovers, which we can tell by we lost out the rest of the year. I stopped to do the scouting. We were 6-5. Or no, we were 5-6. 5-6, and only beat the Cardinals for the rest of the year. Let's see if we know some of our dev traits. Of course, we didn't have any offensively. Defensively, though, Gresham is superstar X Factor. Adonis Shelton is only star. We'll look for that to go up, though, this year. I also look for Nick Jackson's to go up with another incredible year that he had. And I knew Brock Purdy wouldn't be far up the MVP list, and I knew we wouldn't make Coach of the Year, as we just didn't have the year to do so. Offensive Player of the Year, though, Quinshon Judkins and Brandon Ayuk, both on the board at 6 and 8 for Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, we didn't have anybody on the list this time. Offensive Rookie, Cordova at 2, Layman at 4. Defensive Rookie goes to Adonis Shelton. DeMarcus Gresham at 5. Hopefully he gets a dev trait to superstar. Brock Purdy at 2 again for best quarterback. Best running back, Judkins at 5. Derrick Henry is apparently with the Giants. That's interesting. Best receiver, Ayuk at 3. Best offensive lineman, nobody on the list. Best defensive lineman, Nick Bosa at 9. Best linebacker, somehow we don't make this list. I guess it's just a sack thing is all it's looking for, because Nick was incredible. Best defensive back, not on the list. Best kicker, Jake Moody, also not making the list. And the Baltimore Ravens are the Super Bowl winners. I don't think an NFC team has won the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's been AFC, 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 Super Bowls only. That's kind of not a great look on our part. Let's see what our dev traits ended up being. As offensively, Cordova doesn't go up. I was really hoping nobody else moves. Defensively, Gresham loses his, and Adonis Shelton didn't get... He literally went up and then went down. That is dumb. So we're going to give him Superstar Dev. Just because you can't go up 1 week for winning Rookie of the Year and then go down the next. We're also going to give Gresham back his Star Dev. You can't be in the race for Rookie of the Year and lose your Dev trait. It's just not how this game should work. Did Nick Jackson get one and lose it? No, he did not, but he's playing good enough. All right, well, we can just continue in the offseason. Receiver is definitely a big need for us. Center is a need. I think our right tackle and tight end should be good enough for us to win some games. Defensively, we really need left outside linebacker and a third corner. All right, we're targeting Quentin Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson. I know they're both normal depth players, but they're high enough overalls and they're young enough. We get Tyreek Stevenson, we lose out on Quentin Johnson. Not a big deal. Well, we have a really good opportunity here as we have pick 3 and pick 5 and pick 23. So we're going to make all these first round picks. There are so many needs. We're going to start with Darren Penn. We need a right tackle. We need an upgrade at right tackle. And now we might have one, even though he's normal dev. You know, I think we're just going to take the best left outside linebacker here. He's a top 5 pick. Looks incredible. Add to the team. We need a left outside. Ranked at 19. Another normal dev. God. Give me a break. All right, getting another tight end. Maybe a hidden dev guy here. Jamie McDermott. Looks incredible. Hopefully we finally get a hidden dev. And we do. Thank you. Well, here we are in the second round, where we have the potential to take a good offensive lineman. We need... This guy's around 1 to 2. I'm really going to trust it. We need a good center. Brandon Conway. Ranked at 37. Got him at 37. And finally a hidden dev. There is also a right guard I had in mind. Bernie Roseman. Around 1 to 2 talent. Looks really good. Hopefully a hidden dev. Ranked at 42. Got him at 69. And another hidden dev player. All right. This guy's potentially undrafted. It's the 4th round. But he looks incredible as just a player. Super athlete and hidden dev. 99 speed, 99 excel. We got to get this guy on the field. Well, we had 3 first round picks. And it kind of looks like we screwed 2 of them up. With Darren Penn and Antoine Hillhouse both being normal devs. And I don't even think Darren Penn's going to start. Jamie McDermott is interesting at tight end. Brandon Conway, Bernie Roseman, and Juan Edmonds all look really good. And we got a kicker, and then the computer drafted the rest of the way. So hopefully these guys end up playing really good for us. Well, this is what the team's looking like going into year 4. The offensive line is getting there. Conway got hurt, sadly. We do have Roseman kind of in the developmental phase. I'm really hoping that actually we might start Penn here at the center position for now. Juan Edmonds, of course, we got him at the wide receiver 3 spot. Kind of hoping this team takes off this year. Our defense is looking really good. We have Hillhouse starting at left outside linebacker. Hoping for a Rookie of the Year in a dev trait. Tyreek Stevenson, we added this offseason at corner 2 to put Ricardo Green back in that slot corner role where he played so good in years prior. And we have some players to re-sign, but we have 0 money. So Ricardo Green and Dominic Pooney are going to have to walk. That's why we drafted a right guard. We have a succession plan for him. We might have to draft a corner this year. And everybody else is kind of good to roll. Kelvin Banks will have to re-sign or accept his option, of course. And at the midseason, we're sitting at 5-2, an 87 overall, a 91 defense. I do want to set this focus scouting to wide receiver. I still think we're kind of weak there, depending on how Juan is playing and if he got moved out of that 3 spot, like I think he did. And of course, he did get moved out of that spot from Ricky Pearsall. Not what we wanted. Conway, star dev. Roseman, I don't want to start yet, but we may have to soon. McDermott, we don't know, but he's the backup kind of to Cordova. I have moved him above him. It didn't do anything, so not a big deal. Defensively, Hillhouse got benched for Browning. Kind of figured that would happen. Don't think he's going to get Rookie of the Year that way. And our defense looks good. I mean, it's a 91 overall, so we built it well. Let's look at our stats. Brock Purdy cooled down a little bit on the interceptions this year. 15 touchdowns, 1,700 yards. Quinshawn Judkins falling under that 4 yards a carry mark, which is not great. Receiving, Brandon Ayuk leading the way, 500 yards, 8 touchdowns. Ricky Pearsall right behind him, and Cordova the second highest, as I was really hoping to see our rookie anywhere on the list, but he is not. Blocking, Kelvin Banks still leading the way, of course. Defensively, Fred Warner leading the way in tackles this year. Nick Bosa in TFLs, and DeMarcus Gresham in sacks. Nick Bosa right behind him. I don't see... Adonis Shelton has none this year, which is upsetting. And Tyreek Stevenson, the free agent we brought in this year, leading the team in interceptions, one for a couple others, but that's why we brought him in. And we finished the year 11-6, win our division. We're the number 3 seed. The New York Giants are the 1 seed. What a strange thing. Let's see how we played. Hopefully it was good. Oh, New York ended up with Shedeur Sanders in this. That's cool. Brock Purdy with his best year so far. 4,300 yards, 39 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Quinshawn still not doing great in the rushing game, but 6 touchdowns for him. Receiving, Brandon Ayuk, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns. Cordova, second highest. Layman and Pearsall, both at 600 yards. Juan Edmonds, the rookie, he got in for a little bit, averaging 10 yards a reception. I mean, Quinshawn has been awesome in the past game. Blocking, it looks like both our tackles are terrible. What else is new? Defensively, Fred Warner leading the team in tackles. Nick Jackson right behind him with 109. Nick Bosa in TFLs. Adonis Shelton with 13. Not a terrible year out of him. DeMarcus Gresham with 15 sacks. Nick Bosa with 8. Justin Hendricks 3.5. Adonis Shelton 2. 3 picks for Nick Jackson, the linebacker. Fred Warner with 2. Tyreek Stevenson with 2. Lenore with 2. And then 1 for 4 others. Well, McDermott is only a star dev. Purdy playing up to a 98 overall. See, I knew Edmonds was that 75 over, was that superstar dev player. We want to get him on the field. I don't want him to lose his dev trait. Conway playing up to an 81 already in his rookie year. Defensively, Hillhouse stays the starter, which is nice. I didn't see any stats from him, though, sadly. Gresham playing up to an 88 overall. He has surpassed Hendricks. Bosa playing at a 99. Adonis Shelton looks really good. We'll probably lose that superstar dev this year, but the defense looks fantastic. Well, this is year 4, so we're going to go ahead and hop into this game. You know we're going to go to the end of it, but I think we should be able to take down Seattle. Well, we're going to the end of the game. Let's see. Green Bay just yesterday laid out the plan for beating Seattle, and we are up 14-0. Let's see if we can we hold the lead? 21-0, 28-10. I'm sorry, 31-10. That's your final as we take down the Seattle Seahawks in the wild card round. I don't know who their quarterback is. Jalen Milroe. Very interesting. Brock Purdy, 216 yards, 3 touchdowns. Quinshawn Judkins, 42 yards. Brock Purdy had a rushing touchdown. Receiving, Judkins, 95 yards and a touchdown. Lehman with a touchdown. And Isaac Guerrero with a touchdown. Defensively, Diamador Lenore leading the team in tackles. Nick Bosa with TFLs. And Nick Bosa with the only sack. An interception for Hufunga and... Oh, I've been saying Ricardo. It's Renardo Green. My bad. Now we have to take on the number 2 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's see what they're working with. They still have Baker. Well, we are the better team, but they have the home field advantage. Time to go to the end of the game. We'll jump in if we have to. Our offense and defense need to be excellent, as our offense has not, as it is a 3-6 game. Can our offense score? It doesn't seem so. They do 10-6. This is where we are going to hop in. 1 minute and 54 seconds left. We're in field goal range, so we can tie it. Which means, why don't we just have a normal inside zone? This is a zone running team, as Judkins is going to get a gain of 3 there. He has not had a lot of success today. As we're just going to try to go to the inside zone here, it looks like we have the numbers. And that's exactly what we have as we get the first down. Now we are going to go for the win here, but we're going to try to take our time in doing so. As we are able to hit Edmonds. I don't know what happened there, why he stopped running. We're going to try this again. 22 seconds left. We need to... As Cordova had the lead there, but just apparently could not catch it. 16 seconds left. As we get the first down, we're going to call a timeout. I really don't want to run it here. We need somebody to get to the end zone. And we're going to do a curl route for Lehman, and we might try to throw it at him. No, it's just going to be incomplete. We have about enough time for one more play. And that's what we're going to try to do, just get somebody open in the end zone. As we hit Ayuk with 4 seconds left in the game for the go-ahead touchdown. And that ends it as we win the divisional round, as we should have. Probably shouldn't have been so close. Wyatt Kern is their quarterback. Threw 2 interceptions. Brock Purdy, though, 158 yards and a touchdown. Not great. Judkins, only 35 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, Judkins led the way receiving. Brandon Ayuk with the only touchdown there to end it. Defensively, Nick Jackson leading the way in tackles. Fred Warner in TFLs. Nick Bosa and Gresham with sacks. And Nick Jackson and Fred Warner, the 2 linebackers, with the 2 interceptions. And now we have a home game against the Green Bay Packers. And even though I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, we've seen this too many times. San Francisco has their number in the playoffs. Well, as much as it pains me to beat the Packers, let's go to the end of the game and make sure we do it, as we are on the board first. They do tie it. We have the lead, though, 14-7, 14-14, 21-14, 28-14. That wraps it up. We take down the Green Bay Packers. And again, sadly, I don't know if I could take another San Francisco beating Green Bay. And Brock Purdy, 14-17, 163 yards, 3 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins, 47 yards. Guerrero with the touchdown. Brandon Ayuk, Quinshon, and Morgan Lehman with receiving touchdowns. Defensively, Nick Jackson leading the way in tackles. 4 total TFLs. A sack for DeMarcus Gresham. And no interceptions. And we have a rematch in the Super Bowl, as we do have to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's see what dev traits we got going into the Super Bowl. As you always get a bump here as Brock Purdy goes up to Superstar X Factor. Nothing for the receivers. Defensively, Gresham goes up to Superstar X Factor. Nick Jackson goes up to Superstar. That's some pretty good dev traits for us. Now let's see if we can. This has been just a ridiculous normal playoffs, right? We've seen this so many times. I feel like San Francisco beats Green Bay in the NFC Championship, then has to play Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Let's see if we can change things. It's been kind of on par so far. We are the better overall team. So it's time for us to try to beat Kansas City. Normally, I only like to hop in a couple times, but we're going to see how this game goes. Against Kansas City, we may have to hop in as they are on the board first, but we take a 7-3 lead as we really need to extend it here. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to come in on offense as they take the lead. 4:50 left. We really need to score here with not a lot of time on the clock. So we're going to start by running the ball with Quinshon Judkins as he gets a gain of 3. And we're going to try to keep the ball on the ground here. 2nd and 7. As Judkins is going to spin away, get the first down for a gain of 10. I think it was 10. I'm not 100% on that. Don't look it up. So we keep the ball on the ground. Again, Judkins gets hammered, but gets a gain of 7. 3.5 minutes left. We have done a good job burning the clock. As Judkins, somehow Dominic Pooney isn't able to get leverage on Fred Warner there. We got a 3rd and 2 here. I think we go to the pass. As we are going to hit Lehman and get the first down. 2.5 minutes left. We really want to, we've seen this Kansas City offense score with like 14 seconds left on the clock against Buffalo. Now this is Madden, so I'm not really super worried about that, but we are going to try to burn it down. Well, Purdy ran for a first down there. A minute left on the clock. We're at the 26-yard line. As Quinshon is just getting hit stick. Now we have 30 seconds left. Time to start focusing as Chris Jones is going to get to Purdy and we're going to have to take a timeout. A 3rd and 10. I do not like this at all, but I'm going to put Lehman on the slant. I see the guys rushing here as Purdy can't. Give me, what flag do we got here? Don't be a hold. Pass interference. That's exactly what we wanted. 1st and 10 on the 18. 22 seconds left. This is what we need. We've got to score a touchdown here late to end it in the Super Bowl. As we're able to hit Lehman and he falls into the end zone, puts us up by 4. And that ends it. We beat the Kansas City Chiefs in year 4 in a low-scoring thriller. Well, Brock Purdy, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, sadly 1 interception. Quinshon Judkins, 68 rushing yards, receiving. Ayuk and Lehman with the 2 touchdowns. Fred Warner leading the team in tackles. Only 2 TFLs. No sacks, no interceptions, but our defense did good enough. Well, as y'all saw, we are the Super Bowl champions. Brock Purdy winning his first Super Bowl MVP, and we finally beat the allegations and beat Kansas City. Now let's see what dev traits we kept, as Edmonds did lose his development trait. Roseman is star dev and will replace Pooney next year, so hopefully that's good enough. The rest of the offense looks good enough. Purdy keeps his superstar X factor. Defensively, Gresham and Bosa. Somehow Shelton keeps his superstar X factor. Nick Jackson stays at superstar. Fred Warner, of course, at that 99. Hillhouse not gaining anything, but up to an 81 overall. His teams were good enough to repeat. Gresham up to a 90. Well, we have $5.8 million, and neither Dominic Pooney or Renardo Green want to stay. Now, I have, let's see, who else? Nobody else. I have thought about franchise tagging one of them, being it is the last year. Maybe we franchise tag Renardo Green. He wants to play for a new team. We're going to franchise tag. Our defense is good, and we have Dominic Pooney's successor. All right, well, I can tell you exactly what we're going to do right here. We're trading up to the probably number 3 overall pick. And that does it. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a third, another second, 3 seconds. Gets us the 3rd overall pick, and guess what? We keep the 32nd, and I can tell you exactly who we're going to draft with this. It's a wide receiver, a top 5 true talent, Joaquin Fernandez. I don't know how to say that correctly, but a top 5 talent in this draft. Doesn't necessarily look generational in his only normal dev. I hate myself. All right, well, here we are at our 2nd round pick, and I can tell you exactly who we're going after. It's a cornerback, Dakota Whitley, a top 5 true talent. Welcome to the team. Ranked at 1. This was the number 1 ranked player in the entire draft class and a hidden dev. Well, we have another 3rd round pick, and I can tell you exactly who we're going after. Justin Newhouse. A round 1 to 2 talent receiver. Ranked at 47. Another normal dev. We have had terrible luck drafting hidden dev receivers. Well, our draft recap in year 5. Fernandez is a 77 overall. Dakota Whitley, 79 overall. Justin Newhouse, a 73 overall. He was a round 1 to 2 talent. This draft must have been terrible. I mean, we had to have we got the best player in the draft. The other was Josh Reynolds, another cornerback. We got 2 of the top 4 overall players in the draft. Fernandez wasn't even hidden dev. Well, quite frankly, we're in another year of why is Roseman not in it? I don't understand this game because Roseman is a right guard and would be our highest rated right guard. But for some reason is not starting at right guard. This game is just... This is the dumbest game in the history of games, and nobody will ever convince me otherwise. As Fernandez isn't even in our top 3 receivers. We're just going to have to run stuff back the way it is. Defensively... Whitley is a really high overall. He's a really good rookie corner that's just going to sit on the bench. I mean, Fernandez, to be a top 5 guy in the class, is this from TCU? Is this another fucking Quentin Johnson situation? I hope not. He's got good short route running. But he's probably not going to see the field a whole lot unless he develops to be better than Juan Edmonds really fast. Well, at the midseason, we're having another great year. We have some players to re-sign, but we have $82 million. So we could kind of, we'd be interested in these 4. Quinshon Judkins, Nick Bosa potentially, Brandon Ayuk potentially, and Nick Jackson, of course. We're not going to worry about it, though, because this is going to be our last year. We've already won a Super Bowl. We're kind of taking care of business. We are the number 3 seed currently. Brock Purdy, 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. Judkins back over that 4 yards a carry mark and 8 touchdowns. Receiving Ayuk with 10 touchdowns so far at the midseason. Layman with none. Juan Edmonds with 3 and Cordova with 2. How are 2 tackles are just, they're so bad, yet they're good overalls. Nick Jackson leading the team in tackles. Once again, Nick Bosa in TFLs. And DeMarcus Gresham in sacks, as we do not have a lot of sacks. 2 picks for Lenore, 2 for Green, 1 for Jackson, Tyreek Stevenson, and Antoine Hillhouse. Well, we finally finished as the #1 seed, going 14-3. Let's take a look at this roster real quick to see how good everybody's playing. As our offensive line looks incredible. Banks up to a 90. Conway up to an 87. Roseman, the second-year right guard, up to an 81. Cordova up to an 87. Purdy almost up to a 99. Judkins up to a 96. Our receivers look serviceable. Defensively, Gresham up to a 92. Adonis Shelton up to an 88. Bosa and Warner up to a 99. Hillhouse 82. Nick Jackson up to an 87. Whitley is playing incredible, so he's actually going to get bumped up over Ricardo Green. Safeties look good. This team is primed and prepped for a Super Bowl. And we have the bye week as we take a look at the stats and awards. Brock Purdy, 4,300 yards, 45 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's the Brock Purdy everybody wishes for. Rushing, Judkins, over 1,000 yards finally, and 17 touchdowns. Receiving, Ayuk, 1,400 yards, 22 touchdowns. Layman with 9. Cordova with 4. Juan Edmonds with 6. Defensively, Nick Jackson leads the way in tackles. Adonis Shelton in TFLs. And DeMarcus Gresham in sacks as Bosa goes back down to 5.5. Justin Hendricks with 5.5. 5 picks for Lenore. 4 for Renardo Green. 3 for Hufunga. 2 for Stevenson. And 1 for a pile of others. And our first game of the playoffs, the divisional round, is against the Seahawks. So you know we got to hop in and make sure we win here. But even though we're going to make sure we're going to win, we're going to go to the end of the game. We'll hop in if we have to, as we are on the board first. 14-0. Can we keep it up? 21-7, 21-14. They do tie it. All right, we are in field goal range. Just going to try to burn this clock out a little bit. And kick a game-winning field goal. As why did the clock burn out like that? We're going to get iced here. As there is 6 wind. I have no idea what's going on. And we're going to make the kick, so it's not going to matter. We take down Seattle. And for whatever reason, it was a close one. Brock Purdy, 3 touchdowns, 267 yards. Judkins with 44 yards. Ayuk, Layman, and Judkins with the receiving touchdowns. Adonis Shelton and DeMarcus Gresham leading the way in TFLs. Justin Hendricks with the sole sack and no interceptions. And in the NFC Championship game, we have to take on the Detroit Lions. I believe this is a repeat over last year's NFC Championship game. So why don't we just go ahead and hop in, see if we can take down the Detroit Lions. Well, 5 years down the road, we have a repeat of last year's NFC Championship game. Let's see if we can take down the Detroit Lions, as Detroit kind of going all out on us at first. 42 seconds left in the first half. We're going to see if we can't put together a scoring drive here, as we are going to target Brandon Ayuk. He comes down with it. Let's call the timeout. We would really, really like to be able to score here, whether it's Okay, yeah, just throw that one away. We got beat immediately. You know, as long as we can score something here, whether it's a touchdown or a field goal, as we can no longer kind of go in the middle of the field. This defense is celebrating stuff. As we are going to hit Brandon Ayuk and go out of bounds at the 5. Now we can just kind of go for touchdowns, as Cordova and Lehman are going to be on slants. We're going to set Judkins in motion, and he's kind of going to get followed. And we're going to hit Cordova, who drops it in the end zone. That's where you wish you had George Kittle. We're going to send Judkins in motion again and just try to throw it away as our right tackle is getting cooked. Let's try to bring this back. Hopefully our right tackle can kind of hold up. He's an 80-plus overall player. As Purdy's just going to scramble with it, walk into the end zone. That's going to make it a 2-point game. We're going to skip this moment, see if our offense can do it on their own, and they do. Our offense is holding up 17-9. We got the ball back. We ended out, only hopped in the one time, 17-9. We win the NFC Championship. Let's take a look at the stats as Purdy didn't throw a touchdown, but did throw for almost 200 yards. Purdy had 2 rushing touchdowns, apparently. Some decent receiving out of Ayuk. Defensively, how many TFLs do we have? Only 2. And Gresham with the lone sack, no interceptions. And before we get to who we play in the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy coming in second for the MVP race. We do win Coach of the Year. It's about a Jets coach. There at number 2. Brandon Ayuk winning Offensive Player of the Year with Judkins at 10. Defensive Player of the Year, Lenore at 8. Offensive Rookie of the Year, our backup running back Belton at 7. Defensive Rookie of the Year, we're not on the list. Best quarterback goes to Brock Purdy. Best running back, Judkins at 2. Best receiver going to Ayuk. Best offensive lineman, Roseman, the first-year starter at 8. Defensive lineman, Gresham at 7. Best linebacker, not on the list. Best defensive back, Lenore and Renardo Green and Hufunga on the list. Best kicker, Cooper at 10. Now we have a repeat of last year where we have to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's take a look at our depth traits. Judkins going up to Superstar X Factor. Nobody else on the offense moving up or down. Defensively, Adonis Shelton going to Superstar. Hufunga going to Superstar. Oh, Adonis Shelton went to Superstar X Factor. My bad. A lot of really good depth trait increases for the Super Bowl. We got a 5 overall difference on the Chiefs. 91 overall, 91 offense, 93 defense. We're the better all-around team. So hopefully this year we don't struggle as much as we did last year. But it's still the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's go to the end of the game. We'll jump in if we have to. We are on the board first, and we have a 14-0 lead, 21-0 lead, 21-3, 21-6, 28-6. We might not have to hop in here, and we don't, as we win our second Super Bowl in a row with the San Francisco 49ers. This may have been the easiest rebuild we've done so far. And we took down the Chiefs 2 years in a row. And look at those games from those quarterbacks. 3 interceptions from Purdy, 4 from Mahomes. That's terrible. Brock Purdy, 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns from Quinshon Judkins, and a receiving touchdown from Judkins. Defensively, Diamador Lenore leading the team in tackles. Nick Bosa with the only TFL and 2 sacks, 1 for Bosa, 1 for Gresham, and 4 interceptions from 4 different players. Lenore with 1, Warner with 1, Renardo Green with 1, and Tyreek Stevenson with 1. Now, I said earlier this might be the easiest rebuild so far I've done, and I didn't even this is normal draft classes and everything. Our offensive line looks incredible going forward. Of course, you have Purdy playing up to a 99. Judkins, who needs to be re-signed, but can. Ayuk has been incredible. The rest of the receivers are serviceable. Nobody terrible. On the defensive side of the ball, 3 superstar X-Factor players on the D-line. Fred Warner still here and great. Nick Jackson, who is actually a pick in this upcoming draft, just developed fantastically up to a superstar dev and playing up to an 88 overall. Hillhouse was a top 5 pick up to an 83 so far. Tyreek Stevenson we brought in, which is very possible because he's kind of been a cancer in the Bears locker room. He's been incredible. Renardo Green has been incredible. Whitley we just drafted this past year, already playing up to an 86 overall and a superstar dev. Diamador Lenore, everybody knows he's incredible. We brought in Baron Browning there for a little bit, gave him a Super Bowl ring. Actually gave him 2 Super Bowl rings. An incredible, incredible team that we've put together off normal draft classes, just from trading away veterans, aging veterans, something this team really needs to think about. I know if you're a San Francisco fan, you love Trent Williams, you love George Kittle, you love CMC, Debo, but just the matter of fact is none of them can stay healthy. Debo has the yips, apparently. He's just been, and I think the problem is I drafted him in fantasy, which is a little bit of a bummer. I did trade him for Chuba Hubbard. I won the trade, apparently, somehow. If you'd have said that at the start of the year, nobody would have thought it. But, just a lot of San Fran has been really injured. You just got Dre Greenlaw back, who we let walk. Fred Warner was apparently playing with like a fractured ankle or something for like 4 or 5 weeks there. Incredible out of him. I'm pretty sure Hufanga was hurt for a while, and you had Mustafa in, who looked like an incredible draft pick, even though we didn't keep him around. But just San Fran's fighting injury and age, and it's something that you have to get away from. So, and especially in Madden, you have to get away from age. The last Madden rebuild we did was the Dolphins, who is the oldest team in the NFL by average age. The San Francisco 49ers are right there, though, in that up to oldest average age, and we made them young. Now, that will sadly end it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know down in the comments what team you want to see rebuilt next. And until next time, have a good one.